At a train station, a group of travelers is waiting for the storm to pass so they can finally go home. Since everyone is so bored, a mysterious man decides to tell them one of his many stories, getting inspired by a guy's checkboard t-shirt. During the special chess exhibition, world champion Akira is playing against an advanced computer known as Super Blue. Akira can calculate only 3 moves per second, while the computer can do over 200 million moves. The disadvantage is quite obvious, and with a big audience watching them, the pressure is overwhelming. After a long tortuous match, Akira decides to admit his defeat by dropping his king. The audience gasps in shock while the host explains that this is the first time in history that a human has lost to a computer. As reporters surround Akira to take the pictures, the host says that Akira's face looks super blue and everyone laughs. The humiliation causes Akira to hit the board with his king, breaking it in half. 3 years later, Akira is sleeping on the street with other homeless people after spending another night drunk to cope with his depression. Suddenly a fancy car parks in front of him and 2 mysterious men in black suits come out. They grab Akira and drag him into the vehicle while ignoring his protests. Moments later they arrive at a mansion and Akira is left in a room with some very creepy statues surrounding a table. An old man with a cane appears and hopes that his men treated Akira well. He refuses to introduce himself and explains he's looking for the legendary chess world champion. Akira pretends he doesn't know what he is talking about, so the old man explains all the reasons why he thinks Akira is legendary. People used to believe that a Japanese person could never be a champion and Akira proved them wrong. He had lots of consecutive victories so he was named the strongest champion in history. He disgraced the game by losing to a computer, and just one loss was enough to drive him away from the game to the point his whereabouts are a mystery. The old man says he just wants to play against Akira as he picks up a handkerchief from the table to reveal a chess set. The sight is enough to make Akira sick, but he blames it on the hangover. The old man just keeps talking and shows off a binder with all the articles he collected about Akira. There are descriptions of how he fell into a deep depression and became homeless. Obviously there are pictures of him too, so the old man knows he got the right man. Then the old man explains that lots of people including himself lost money because they bet on Akira defeating the computer, so he wants compensation. Since Akira doesn't have money to pay, the old man wants him to play chess with him. Akira says he isn't a millionaire's plaything but the old man can tell he's scared of the board, so he grabs the white king and announces that Akira has already lost. Getting flashbacks of his last match, Akira finally snaps and makes the old man put the king back in place while mentioning what the right opening move is. The old man is incredibly pleased and moves his piece after moving Akira's. He tells him to sit with him, but Akira keeps pacing around the room because he thinks he doesn't need to sit to defeat a beginner. He just mentions his moves and the old man moves the pieces for him. While they play, the old man listens to an earpiece before making any move. He also mentions that chess is based on real battlefields, so the pieces represent soldiers being injured or killed. The old man thinks that chess is also a metaphor for life because people are doing their own form of chess with economic activity and love. While looking out the window, Akira is irritated by all the talking and yells at the old man to shut him up, but instead the guy starts asking how it felt to lose. He thinks Akira's heart still yearns for chess no matter how he tries to stay away from it. His words turn manipulative, playing with Akira's mind until he starts imagining that the people on the street are only wearing black and white suits, and they're standing on a giant chessboard. He compares their positions to those on the table and realizes that they match. When the old man makes his next move, he takes Akira's pawn. At the same time, a black suit proceeds to stab the white one. Akira turns around and sees blood on the white pawn while the old man says that pawns are just nameless soldiers that serve the king so they shouldn't matter. Akira is still freaking out so the old man tells him to go outside and check things himself. On the street, Akira is shocked to confirm that the people are real. He removes the knife from the fallen man, who smiles and asks him for the next move before dying. Suddenly the black and white suits walk away, leaving Akira alone with the body. A random woman screams when he sees him and Akira swears he isn't guilty as he drops the knife and runs away. Sometime later Akira is at a mental clinic to talk to Dr. Tomoda, who has been his psychiatrist since the exhibition. Losing made Akira have nightmares about being crushed by giant chess pieces, which made him irritated during the day. His wife Kumi was always supportive of him, but he couldn't handle it and ran away anyway. Kumi tried to follow him, yet Akira insisted that a defeated king couldn't protect the queen. Akira tells Tomoda what happened with the human chess, but Tomoda thinks he hallucinated the whole thing because Akira is in a bad mental state and only knows how to look at life through chess metaphors. At that moment a fax arrives with the question what's the next move repeated over and over on the page. While Akira yells his next move, Tomoda blames the message on a prank or a wrong number. However, when he opens his book, all the pages have become a chessboard. Soon another fax arrives showing that the old man's queen has taken Akira's knight. Suddenly Tomoda starts puking blood before he drops dead. His coffee cup says queen and a picture on the wall shows him riding a horse, which means he died because he was a knight. Akira then notices someone at the door and when it opens, he's shocked to see the black queen from the human game. She asks for his next move, so a terrified Akira runs away while the fax machine prints a chessboard. In the corridor, Akira finds a kid holding a drawing of the queen's move. The boy asks for the next move and Akira tries to choose his king, but the child explains that it would cause him to lose while revealing a drawing of the king dying. Then Akira starts running away while his mind fills with disturbing mental images of the pawn's death, the old man's manipulation, and bleeding chess pieces. In the parking lot, Akira gets in a car and doesn't notice that the keychain is a chess piece. When he starts the vehicle, it only moves diagonally, making him realize that this is the bishop. Akira immediately gets out of the car and is horrified to see that the parking lot has become a chess game too. He runs to get into another car with a rook keychain, but the vehicle won't start because it isn't his turn. At that moment, a black car moves and crashes right into his white rook. Thankfully, the airbag saves Akira from getting hurt. When he looks up, he sees the other driver running from the black car. Afterward, Akira goes to his old home and discovers it's up for sale. Since the rook is also known as the castle, taking Akira's rook meant taking his house. He thinks about the match and realizes the queen is next, meaning Kumi is in danger. Akira rushes back to the old man's place and announces he quits the match. He also wants to know where Kumi is. The old man says that if he wants to quit, he can remove his king from the board. The bad memories of his defeat immediately overwhelm him and Akira refuses to let that happen again, so he sits down to finish the game. Both men spend several hours without paying attention to anything except the chessboard between them, thinking carefully about all their moves before making them. Eventually, Akira announces checkmate in 2 moves, so he advises his opponent to give up. However, the old man has already noticed this and wonders if Akira is ready to make another sacrifice. Then the old guy's guards drag a blindfolded Akira to a stadium with a huge chessboard in the middle, and the position of the pieces matches their game. There are hundreds of seats but no audience, yet the old man calls it the perfect venue for the finale. He also tells the story of an Arabian king who played chess using prisoners to make it a real battle. When Akira takes off the blindfold, he realizes that the pieces are human again. The old man points out that chess will always be cruel because no matter if the other pieces are protected, a king always has to die at the end. Akira can easily win the game by moving his knight, however this will leave his queen exposed. The guards remove the mask from the queen and Akira is horrified to discover it's Kumi. The black rook has a knife and can kill Kumi. Akira tries to run toward her, but a sniper shoots at the board to stop him. The old guy explains that the penalty for moving on his own is death. Now Akira has to make a choice, win the game and lose his wife, or lose the game to save her. Kumi shakes her head but can't tell him anything because she's been gagged. After thinking about it for several minutes, Akira reminds himself that the king must protect the queen. He then decides to move his king piece, who happens to be himself. The opponent rook immediately advances and stabs Akira, causing him to collapse and lose the game. Suddenly the old guy and all the pieces start clapping. Even Kumi is clapping and smiling. All the human pieces from the street board and Dr. Tomoda enter the stadium as they clap too. Akira blinks and realizes he isn't actually hurt, so the black rook reveals he was using a fake knife. Tomoda explains to Akira that they've tricked him in this crazy game as part of his treatment. They've put him through shock therapy so he could rediscover his love for chess and convince him to enter competitions again. The old guy is a big fan of Akira, so he agreed to pay for everything. He reveals he doesn't have much time left, so he wanted to contribute something to humanity before death. It was his money that developed Super Blue, but he hated seeing a computer beat a human being and wanted a rematch. It turns out Super Blue has been telling the old guy what pieces to move through the earpiece, so Akira has been actually playing against it all along. Akira gets sad for a second because it means he lost against the computer again. However, he doesn't regret it because he finally understands that Kumi is more important, so he asks her for a second chance. Tomoda and the old man then reveal that Akira didn't lose. The computer can't understand the concept of self-sacrifice, so Akira's move was incomprehensible and made the system overload. When Akira turns around, he sees smoke coming out of Super Blue and realizes he did win. The old man concludes that machines can't calculate for love, so Akira made his best move. Kumi congratulates him and calls him champion before they reconcile with a hug.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you on my next video.